the presence of Ms. Grace Adeyemo, who is the chairman of the AGOA committee, and I also recognize all other members of NACC, ESCO, board, and all our distinguished members in general. I have the permission of the president of the chamber, Otumba Toyin Akomolafe, as well as the chairman of the AGOA committee, Ms. Grace Adeyemo, to say a few words on behalf of Mr. President. May I proceed, ma'am?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So he has stated that we should handle this on his behalf. Protocols. We welcome our members and all participants generally for this excellent initiative by the Chamber's AGOA committee, duly chaired by our indefatigable Ms. Grace Adeyemo. It is noteworthy that this is being organized in conjunction with Standard Chartered Bank. This webinar particularly is of great benefit to companies and organizations that stand to benefit from the African Growth and Opportunities Act, which is a laudable initiative of the United States government. Therefore, export-driven companies, inclusive of those in non-oil exports and agro-allied value chain sectors, stand to greatly benefit. Of course, some of these companies fall within the SME belt, which plays a major role in most economies, particularly in developing countries such as Nigeria. These are important contributors to job creation and economic development globally. We will not try to duplicate presentations here, but what we are saying is that it is very important for SMEs to be able to access finance so that they can grow and be major companies in future. So, but this is notably our second educating webinar this month, as last week we had one on health value chain. We have another one on Friday on a credit union initiative to provide banking solutions to Nigerians in diaspora. Always for sponsorship opportunities of Chambers events, kindly contact the Secretariat. So again, we welcome our esteemed panelists on today's webinar. And without wasting any further time, may I hand over to Ms. Grace Adeyemo to introduce the event and tell us the purpose and overview of the event. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, DG. Thank you, DG, for that opening remark from the President of Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I welcome you all to another AGOA capacity building program, this time organized in collaboration emphatically with Standard Chartered Bank of Nigeria. Without losing sight of our objectives, let me reiterate once again our set goals. Our set goals for AGOA. First is the implementation of AGOA national strategy that the government has put in place, which has been laid down in commitment to the bilateral free trade sub-Saharan agreements between Nigeria and US. Another objective is the initiative of Prosper Africa. Prosper Africa is trying to promote a two-way trade between US and West African sub-region, Nigeria inclusive. That is co-investments under the supervision of USAID and West African Trade Investment Hub. Still on the core objective, another initiative is the 5-year regional trade hub project across the region with designated co-investment funds with private sectors. This, in our last webinar, was showcased and it was extensively explained to us by Carl from USAID, West African Trade Hub. He said this investment fund, co-investment fund, has been put in place by the US government for trade expansion, especially trade activities that are destined for US markets. This initiative laid down 3 core objectives: utilizing the fund, which has now, the dedicated fund has now been increased from $500,000 to $2 million. Utilizing this dedicated fund for co-investment. 2, for job creation, especially across the sub-region, especially for our youths, with women playing primary roles. And the third objective under this co-investment fund is targeting exports and increasing value within this sub-region. For instance, trading between Nigeria and Togo, and globally. Another core objective for this webinar under the auspices of Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce is for the utilization of the designated co-investment fund, which USAID and West African Trade Hub have identified in Nigeria. 5 value chains have been identified in Nigeria in 7 states of our country. The 5 value chains, we have maize, soya, cowpea, rice, farm fresh, aquatic culture. And the 7 states, we have Benue, Ebonyi, Delta, Cross River, Kebbi, Niger states. This has sprung up a huge commitment on the part of the chamber to key into the national strategy and the initiative of our partners. We are set as a chamber to accomplish this feat by deploying diversified capabilities to our esteemed AGOA stakeholders. We recognize also that access to finance is a mammoth task in this operating environment. First, we were struck by COVID-19. Second, we have the after effects of the NSAS, and now we are pronounced that we are in national recession. Crucial too is that for co-investments under AGOA, a stakeholder must have proven financial activities in their accounts for business expansion and to catalyze research and development. With the benefits of the hindsight, what are the accomplishments so far on this AGOA export roadmap that we have made together with the stakeholders? First, if you remember in May 14, the foundation was laid by USAID and West African Trade Hub, where stakeholders, AGOA stakeholders, were given capacity on eligibility products. That is, over 6,500 products are eligible for exportation to United States under AGOA, precisely non-oil exports. Eligibility, packaging, labeling, where we're taking through about nutritional facts and how the labeling should be. Second, using technology, we equally accomplish using technology to boost export competitiveness. That was in June 24th, despite the partial COVID lockdown. And that was rendered to us by the country representative of Facebook. This is digitalization of our trade is very crucial because technology is advancing exponentially. It is amplifying startups and existing business as value addition to business. And digitalization is globally recognized mode of payment for trade transactions between parties. Another accomplishment is the privilege to have Carl from USAID, West African Trade Hub, when he laid down the co-investment fund allocated, precisely the five value chains that has been identified in 7 states in Nigeria with a timeline of 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, in that regard, let me refresh and reawaken our memory that with the designed national AGOA strategy and partners initiatives, we are on a trade roadmap, precisely AGOA export roadmap to US consumers. I know you're thinking that, but we are SMEs. Yes, SMEs are the engine of national economic growth of a nation. And we have seen that examples in great nations of the world. Like all businesses, SMEs are not immune to business risk. I'll give you some of the business risk. 1, access to finance. That is why we're having a financial institution to tackle that issue for our SMEs. 2, regulatory operating environment risk. Now that we are in concession, you can know how that will be difficult. Then COVID-19 and its existential threats to SME survival. These are just few risks amongst risks that SMEs are prone to. If you remember, COVID-19 started as an health crisis, but it has gravitated towards business and economic crisis. Crisis generally of any sort brings setback to businesses, but setbacks are springboards to opportunities. And these opportunities are for businesses to reevaluate, redirect, re-strategize, and retool and acquire capacity beyond what they think they can have as a value addition to businesses. Today, in collaboration with Standard Chartered Bank, we are tackling headlong one of these business crises, which is access to finance. This is crucial because of the importance of finance to business. Lately, we have seen that there have been a crave and an appetite for Cbn financial stimulus package geared towards SME. Is the Cbn's lending program, an initiative for MSME, a target for credit facility for COVID-19 ridden businesses. It was announced during the lockdown and semi-lockdown of COVID-19. A lot of SMEs rushed into it, but they soon found out that the credit facility of CBN is a conceivable idea, but not achievable to the target business group. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit back as we seize the moment and we listen to Standard Chartered Bank team for another value addition that is designed for us to acquire capability to all the capabilities that we have given to you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair of AGOA Committee, Mr. Adeyemo, for that insightful introduction to this event. May we now hand over to the Standard Chartered team, headed by Benjamin DK. Benjamin, are you there? Benjamin.
Yes, I'm here.
So it's your turf now. It's your playing field. So you can ride on now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'd like to say a very, very big thank you to you, DG, and of course, Mr. Ademo, for this initiative. As a bank, this is the kind of collaborations we really enjoy. How do we partner with institutions like yours to, drive some sort of thought leadership and support, particularly our SMEs? So I'm quite grateful for this opportunity. And I want to thank everyone who has joined us for this session, members of the Nigeria-American Chamber of Commerce, and of course, some of our clients that have also joined. What we've decided to do today, we've broken what we are doing into two. There's going to be a general overview of, export capabilities, opportunities, and so on, which will be led by a very good friend of mine. We've been working with him and with his institute for some time now, and that is the Institute of Export Operations and Management. I want to, first of all, have the registrar, Mr. Ofon Odofia. He will share some of those high-level insights. When he is done, if you permit, that's when we will now come in as Standard Chartered Bank to come into the issue of financing and digitization, okay, for businesses that want to go into export. So I'll crave your indulgence to then at this point introduce my good friend, the registrar of the Institute of Export Operations and Management, Mr. Ofon Odofia, to take the stage at this point and share his thoughts with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin. It's my pleasure to be here because I have been so happy that the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce is working on a AGOA issue. And it is my pleasure because few countries that cannot be compared with us in all ramification are now taking the bold step and sitting at the center stage. I was still training in Ghana when Clinton came to Ghana in 2000. And that was where AGOA was enacted the law. And it was like Ghana was a gateway. And of a truth, Ghana has tried to live up to that expectation. So I'm happy no time is late. I want to thank Shola, the DG, for this laudable program. And I don't want it to stop there. Thereafter, we need to get down to the nitty-gritty to make sure that people are actually using this platform, which I think is one of the best and easiest way to start export business. So let me try to share my screen and we take it.
Okay. Can we now see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can. Go on.
Yes, we can.
Okay. We are not too, I wouldn't say we are not knowledgeable about AGOA. We've been hearing about it, the African Growth and Opportunity Acts. And it would be good for us to refresh our mind, how did we come to AGOA? It was established in May 2000 by then Bill Clinton, the president of America. And he was trying to look at it that we actually trade with America. And I remember one statement he made in Ghana. He said that the oldest known species of human being was from Africa, which means humanity started in Africa. And be it as it may that we've lost some of these things by our colonial masters, but I'm happy that we can still regain those things once again. So the objective of AGOA was to help African trade with America and giving us the opportunity of exporting over 6,500 or thereabout products to America duty-free. I always like to underline that word duty-free, but not standard-free. The standard must be there. So subsequently, they've added another 1,800 products under the general system of preference for us to still carry more goods to America. Like Africa, do a lot on apparel, textile, some food products, electronics, articles, footwear, and bags. I remember during the AGOA Ministerial Conference in 2007 in Accra, Ghana, that I equally presented a paper. We discovered that the African Americans want to buy a lot from us, but you cannot just take it to them. But this is a good window that we should send these things to them. Looking at the demographics, where do they live, what do they want to buy? So it's a huge opportunity and benefits. I want us to look at this. By my left-hand side, country not eligible on AGOA. If you look at it down from their product, export under normal trade, focus from their HCS code of product and duty they pay, you can see that people on that down the line pay duty between $2.1 to $2.64. If you look at this other area that Nigeria is eligible, your product will enter America at a very reduced rate. The price that you want to say there, because already you are not paying, is zero duty. So you now see that why this other person is trying to sell at a particular amount of money, maybe around 2.64, we are already having an advantage. So that is where exporters should look at. So as it is, you're not competing with anybody outside Africa. If somebody is bringing the same item from China or from Indonesia or Bangladesh that are not qualified for this, are not eligible for AGOA, you are already standing an advantage. So your importer will be willing to buy from you because you make a fast sales against other countries that are also exporting to America. Nigerian focus sector, like Grace has already said, agricultural products such as shea butter. Shea butter is one area we have a high advantage. The cashew nuts, spices, sesame seed, shrimps, tubers, specialty food products. On the other hand, textile, t-shirts, sportswears are the rare ashoke, like what the Ghanaians are doing with their kente. Even when President handicraft. This is another area that we can do a lot on handicraft and precious stones. Requirement for you to benefit from AGOA. The country must be eligible. Your product must be eligible, the country must be eligible, must be imported directly from Nigeria, must claim AGOA when filing entry document. This is another area that the exporters have issue. Your document must explicitly explain and show that you are qualified. If you are even doing an AGOA product and your document does not comply, it will not go under AGOA. must meet requirement of origin, quality, and standard. I want us to look at those three things: origin, quality, and standard. That is a substandard product to them. Export quality and standard as prerequisites. Quality is a prerequisite for successful market access, even outside AGOA. If your quality is not good, you have issue. And for improving the competitiveness of exporters, you are, like I used to say, export is like a war. You're in a war front. Everybody wants to shoot. You need to package your product, put it in place standard-wise for you to be able to enter that market. Enterprise intending to export their product through AGOA window need to up-to-date information about the applicable technical requirements, both voluntary and mandatory. Yes, we have mandatory technical requirements, like the FDA is mandatory, like the global gap is voluntary, but companies need it for them to be able to buy from you. There are so many other voluntary standards, like the organic standard, like the fair trade standard. You need to look at all this. If you must actually sell under AGOA window, you must make sure that your technical requirement, both voluntary and mandatory, is adhered to. Export quality and standard, still continue. The first thing needed to exporter is up-to-date information. I've mentioned that about the application standard. After obtaining the information, they have to adapt their products and processes to satisfy export market requirements and demonstrate compliance with AGOA or other international markets. Yes, they've given you their standard that for your share butter to come into America, it must be grade 1. The level of the fatty acid must be this. This is what that is expected from you, both the moisture content and every other thing. Nothing short of that will allow you to enter that market. You must comply. It is necessary and it is important that you must comply to that standard if you want to sell in that market. Objective of export quality. Why do you need export quality? Promoting and ensuring the image of the nation's goods exported to the other countries. Yes, there are some countries, when you mention, they say, okay, for instance, now we have American standard. When you mention that all over the world, oh, this is American standard. We have American standard when it comes to cars. Then we also have other country standard that is being adhered to strictly. So you must make sure that you ensure the image of our country is protected by the quality of product that is sent to that country. Because if you send a substandard product and it's discovered, and maybe on a particular item, the moment that another person wants to do that, it will be subjected to inspection scrutiny because they have gotten a bad experience before. Ensuring goods of short quality only moves into the export market. You make sure that anything you want to move into the export market is of high quality. Let me also say this. It is, I think we should build this foundation from home. Does it mean that it is only when we want to export? We should imbibe this idea and this culture of good quality, even locally, so that will help us sustaining the foreign market. This is very critical. Yes, you've been able to do it the first time. Is there continuity? Beg me to use this example. When we were still training people in Ghana and we're exporting through Ghana, I remember a particular customer that told one of our clients that if I don't see this product in your shelf, I'm going to cancel all your contracts. They were buying for total. So if you are exporting to a particular person and then all of a sudden they say, okay, we need 5 years contract, and you agree, and then you fell along the line, that will cause that customer a lot of headache. So you should have the capacity, tell them the truth. Do not overpromise and underdeliver. If you know it is 10 metric tons you can do annually, tell them that so that they can factor that into their processes, into the book that are some items too. Inspiring confidence in the minds of foreign buyers. This is very, very important. Let them have that confidence in you. Standard of quality is about trust. Do they trust you? The moment that confidence level is there, there's a lot of things you can do. The moment you have established confidence, they can even trade with you without using LC because they have had that confidence in you and know who you are. Adhering strictly to technological requirements accepted by foreign buyers of the product. What technology do you use? If, for instance, you want to send fish, and they say they must be dry fish, you now use our local firewood to dry the fish. The benzoparent content will be high, and they will not buy from you. But if they said, okay, do this fish for us, you must use a dehydrator, or you must use a dryer that uses either solar or gas. You must adhere to that instruction if you want to make a headway. Certification. Certification is a third-party verification that product processes a system and the product supply chain must meet safety standards. Often at time it is done by a third party because both the buyer and the seller, the buyer said, this is what I want. That is the importer, maybe in America, as the case of AGOA. Then you in Nigeria, you've accepted what he wants. Then how do you now make sure that this is ahead to? They now appoint, maybe like in Nigeria, SGS or Beris Veritas or ITS, say, okay, you have to test this product for us. So what do? They now look at the product that you have to test for them. And then after analyzing this product, they say, oh, these are what these products contain. Like for instance, excuse me to say, in ginger, most of the tests we do for ginger is done in Hamburg. And they'll give you about 7 to 10 pages of that analysis. Whereas here, if you send it to any of our lab, they'll just give you 1 page. And the customer buying from you will not be that satisfied because there are things he's looking at. What is, you ought to change onto the minute level, like microtoxin, aflatoxin level, all those other things is taken off. The metallic object included in that. So a third party will do that for you. Then you as an exporter must be ready to spend that money and say, okay, I know my product. This is what my product is made up of. It is distinct from other systems of proof of conformity, such as declaration, laboratory test report. Yes, you can do a laboratory test report. Custom can come and look at your product certification, because as they are doing it for you, they are giving you a document to show that we have certified this product, that it's okay. If anything happens to us, to people using it, hold us responsible. Certification is based on the result of tests. I've said that inspections and giving confidence to the consumers, because as an organization or the system are being thoroughly evaluated against acceptance and national and international industry standards for compliance. For instance, it's all about trust. Can I buy this product? Oh, it is certified by NAFDA. It is certified by the Food and Drug Board of America. Oh, it has global gap standards. You don't even know the producer. All you know is who has certified this product. So it's very, very important as an exporter for you to look at that. It might take time, but it's slow and steady. When you get there, customers will be looking for you because of that certification that you have. Even locally in Nigeria, you walk into a supermarket and you see people that doesn't have that number. How do you feel? Hopefully, the time you don't want to buy because you don't trust that product because it doesn't have that number. Product certification attests that a product complies with the safety, fitness for use, or interchangeability characteristics defined in standard isolation, supplementary to standard as they are specified by AGOA market requirement. It is not just enough that you had that, okay, we can sell under AGOA. Another thing you need to do is that, what are the requirements? How do I enter this market? Just like when somebody wants to go look for an employment, they will tell you, you must have 3 years experience, you must have either BSc or master's. So AGOA will tell you, if you are coming in, you must do X, Y, Z before you're able to come in. So we don't just rush in and move into the AGOA corridor. You know, international trade is different from local trade. Local trade, you see your buyer face to face and explain why it is like this. But on international trade, your buyer is not seen. All you put on paper for him is what he rates you with. Food and Drug Administration certification, FDA, I've mentioned that. One good thing about Nigeria now is that FDA has a local consultant that we are working with, that you can even do the inspection and get your FDA number within 2 months maximum. So that's one good thing that I think has happened to us. One of the things exporters need is Food and Drug Administration certification, without which they cannot export from a food through AGOA's window to US. You need that. In as much as they want to assist Africa, in as much as the United Arab bill, they are still conscious of the health of their own citizens. Even if food gets there without this certification, it will be confiscated or increased in bonds. So in that case, while you are preparing to go into export market, you are selling locally, you work towards this. I also believe that the AGOA Center in the chamber can also be of help. FDA certification. What does FDA regulate? Food, drugs, cosmetics, tobacco products, etc. Dietary supplements and dietary ingredients. Those, you must have that. Infant formula, they also regulate that. Beverages, including alcohol, beverages and bottled water, fruits, vegetables, fish and seafood, dietary products, shell eggs, live food animals, animal feed and pets, raw agricultural products, all these other things, bakery, they regulate that. And if you want to do that, you must find a way of getting this FDA certification from them. What are they actually certifying apart from the food? The facility that produce, store, or otherwise handle the product are registered with FDA. Where did you produce this? Yeah, your product might be very good, but the environment might contaminate it. That's why when they are doing inspection, they want to look at your environment. Do you put things in place? Do you have all the health standards you are supposed to put in place? Your notice of incoming shipment is provided to FDA. Like the consultant I work with, who eventually was also with the AGOA Center, Femi Aderigbebe, who is also assisting the institute. They will need to have that before your first consignment goes in. We assist you to do that, that we have assured that, oh, it has been, this product, the number is okay, everything okay. By the time you have entered the first time, subsequently, it will not have been as tedious as that. But that does not mean you must lower your standard. Imported food products are subject to FDA inspection at US ports of entry, not like what we do, NAFDAC does here. FDA may decide to offer the import or not to. They may decide to allow you at their own discretion or not to allow you if what you claim does not conform to what you have. Reason for certification. Certifications help to build image of a country as ensure that inferior products, quality products are not exported. One, they make sure that from your country, like in some countries, when we're still in Ghana, I will give it to Ghana government because apart from giving loans to small scale industries, what they did was that they pay for their testing and certification as an incentive instead of giving you raw cash. So within that period, the two companies that we were assisting, working with Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, Food Safety Department in Ghana. So you bring your product for a specific time, maybe for 2 or 3 years, government pays for you. Then by so doing, you are now know, okay, if I do it this way, this is the result. If I do this, another result. Maximizing trade impediment by reducing time for testing at importing end. If you have gotten a certification, maybe like FDA or like Global Gap or like Fair Trade, and they know that before this will give you this certificate, they know very well that your product conforms to what they want, So they cannot just give it to you. So by the time your product is getting to the other end, and they look at it, oh, it's Global Gap, okay, no problem. They allow you to go because they know the standards people have kept over the years. You know, Global Gap started as Euro Gap before it now involved the entire globe, and people buy products that are certified by Global Gap and so many other certificates that other products have. Maximize eliminate rejection at importing end. Yes, if your product is certified and you are following the standard, nobody will reject your product at the end. The issue of I don't want to bring that into it. Helps in product traceability and cost of recall. Yes, it is not unusual that the product may not have problem. You may have. Like a few years back, Toyota recalled some of their cars back. Why? They were able to trace which batch of these cars have issue. For the SMEs, you need to do your budget, put your budget number, then also try if there are issues. Do you now lost the entire product? No, you can now inform your customer. This product having batch number 0015, please don't use it, return it back to us. It gives confidence to your importer that, oh, this person knows what he's doing. You can even trace and say, okay, trace back to the factory. Who was on duty that day? Was it fit to produce this product? And then find out why you have that issue so that you prevent reoccurrence. That's on traceability. Provide protections to consumers of importing countries. A consumer wants to be protected. You have to say all the truth. You want to know that what he's taking not have any harmful effect on it. That's one of the things that certification does. Sector-specific rules. Yes, this has been a problem in Nigeria about the textile visa. Apparel is almost the most diversified sector in terms of numbers of beneficiary countries that utilize the reference. Exposure therefore requires an AGOA textile visa arrangement with US to prevent illegal transshipment and use of counterfeit documentation as well as effective enforcement and verification processes. I still want to borrow a leaf from Ghana because that's where I started my export career. Ghana will keep, the visa is issued by a custom officer in the custom formation. If you keep on changing the officer, you are creating problem for your country. Because the man checking this know the signature of the custom officer who is in charge of issuing the visa for textile to ensure that this textile is from a particular country. Before now, I'm not too sure what is happening. I know we have had that issue when some textile from Nigeria was sent to US and the signature was not the same. The same in the sense that the custom officer that was there had been transferred. Over the years, Ghana has kept a particular person that has been doing that. But for now, I'm not too sure because I've not referred back to that to find out how long the new custom officer that is on that table, who is in charge of signing the visa, has stayed. So before you text textile, you need to go to the customs and find out who is in charge of textile visa. Because if you send that product after your documentation without getting a textile visa, you will not be able to benefit from AGOA. You will not be able to get to sell that product to your buyer duty free. So which means you have issue. Circular stamp, blue ink, must appear on front of the original commercial invoice. When they give you on your commercial invoice, the stamp must be put there for people, for the custom officers seeing it to know, oh, this is allowed under AGOA. You can see here the sample of the visa number, grouping, quantity, authorized government official. That is where the visa has to be stamped, which is known to the AGOA center. Other requirements for AGOA include packaging standard. Well, by the grace of God, I am a United Nations trained packaging expert with some of my colleagues, and that really opened my eyes. It's not about fancy. Your packaging must have mandatory information, must have voluntary information, must have legislative information. You see a lot of people walk into the supermarket to buy. They spend a lot of time because they want to know the product they are buying. You don't just print anything, you don't just copy. Even barcoding. If you see most of our products here, the barcode put on them are people's barcode that they copy. Because most of our printers are not trained for them to understand that these are generated and this is also used for traceability. Then what of labeling? Labeling has its own requirement for a specific country. How do they want you to label it? How do they want it, the information there? How do you put it? And even the weights. Some countries takes kilo, some country takes pounds. They would, from there, in that country, what's their means of measurement? Your label must have all this information. So at a glance, when somebody is making it, you will understand what he's buying. This is very, very critical. I want to claim the indulgence of the DG that wouldn't mind if you can work with him on this. Not even training the product owners. First of all, with the printers. Then the product owners. So when you're going to a printer, you tell him what you want. Export document under AGOA. Foodstuff and others. Textile is on the other hand. Commercial invoice. When you start your export business, when you start from your letter of intent, they ask you what they need, or from the intent through phone, the first document you send is your pro forma invoice. You can debate with that until by the time you've agreed on what to do, you now issued a commercial invoice. This is the document that must be there as you're sending for your clearing of the goods in another country. Your packing list, you know that's part of what we teach you when we are doing packaging. Yes, you are having 1 carton of Indomie. How many is inside the carton? You put the primary labeling material that is having direct contact with the product. You will have, okay, it is 2 grams. How many of that 2 grams is in the main carton? How many is on a pallet? So you have to specifically put this down to make sure that at a glance, the custom can say, okay, this is the quantity that they are carrying apart from the weight. Bill of lading or weight bill, this is to be issued by the shipping line. Because the moment that is done, it means you have your food, your cargo is now in the custody of the shipping line. General system of preference, system of origin. As we call it, system of origin. This is issued by the Chamber of Commerce. The FBA prior notice to inform them that this item is coming. They will look at it. they see that you have FDA. Then the phytosanitary certificate. This is very, very, very important. It is issued in Nigeria by the Plant Quarantine Department of the Ministry of Agriculture. None of your plant products will leave this country. Even if you leave this country, they will quarantine it over there and burn it and destroy it without that document. Other documents and accessories, your HSCC, that is highly hazardous critical control point document, as the case, depending on the product you are doing. Then on the textile, what you need is commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, AGOA textile certificate of origin. That this textile is from Nigeria. The cotton they use is from Nigeria. Or if they also have a window of the percentage of, like some, if they have what they call, apart from origin, we call it rule of origin. Oh, labor, material, this must not exceed, even if you are importing the raw material. Then AGOA certificate stamp for textile. As I said earlier, if your product does not have that stamp, forget it, you are not going to benefit from AGOA price-wise. Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. Conclusion. AGOA is a window of export opportunity, which can also serve as a catalyst towards achieving Nigeria's drive to increase foreign earnings through non-oil exports. As I said earlier, they've given us this window. You are sending your product to America duty-free. Your buyer there will sell faster than buying from China or from Korea, because already you are entering that country duty-free if you attend to all the requirements and the instruction. But meeting export quality standard execution by Nigerian exporter is critical to achieving this objective. For you to be able to achieve this, there are things you must do. You must meet the quality standard. You must also meet the certification for you to enjoy it. And finally, exporting generally demands great planning and requires people that are open, flexible, problem solvers, and adapting to new situations. Like now, after the pandemic, is a new ball game in packaging. I just did a program with the TFO Canada because contacts. So they are coming up with a new way that if you must sell to us in Canada, this is how your packaging will look like. So the pandemic, in a way, is also creating opportunity for you to learn more. Now, under this situation, how do I sell how do I package my product to meet standard? Do not overpromise and underdeliver. That's the challenge we have. Do not overpromise and underdeliver. Instead, underpromise and overdeliver. What do I mean by that? If you know you can send this product and what you can make in a month is 10 kilo, tell them 10 kilo. If you know that the time it will take you to deliver this product is 3 months, tell your customer 3 months. Do not tell him 2 weeks and in 3 months you've not done anything. But if you tell him 3 months and you perform in 2 weeks, it's a plus to you. So you do not overpromise and underdeliver. Thank you so much. I want to end it there and ask for questions.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ofon. Thanks. Really appreciate. I don't know. We'll just encourage people, if you have questions, drop them on the chat box. I think there is a time for question and answer. We'll be able to take the questions at that time, if that is okay. I hope Digi, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Just proceed.
Okay. My connection is actually having some problem. Leko, you get my slide very shortly. I don't know why this is just drooling. Okay, I think it's gone now.
You can put it up yourself, I think.
No. We had a challenge with the office system.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Leko, have you got it? Okay. So while Leko is getting, I just will show a few slides as we talk through access to finance. I hope everybody can hear me. Let me start by thanking Mr. Ofon for that wonderful presentation. And obviously, we can't cover all that there is, and that is why you may need to ask your question. It was important for us, I must state, as a bank, that we started this presentation with this talk on standardization, that Mr. Fong has delivered. If you notice the flow, it is about standards. It's about how do you create something a bit more sustainable as you go into the future. Now, the reason why we set this presentation this way is that I know that the Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, Standard Chartered Bank also, we are very committed to ensuring that we don't just do things shabbily. You do the right thing. And secondly, that the standards are very high, all right? Because if the standards are high, then you are securing not just today, you're also securing the future. And that's important for us as we begin to rebrand our nation. It's important, even from the side of a lender. I will lend to you if I know you to be a stickler for standards, that this is not a good I will finance, and then it goes out there and they reject it. Or that you do it once, make the profit once, and then there is no repeat sale, which is a big problem a number of people have. We want shortcuts. How do you just hit it and make it big on a particular unit? But you see, those who build for the long haul, you don't look at profit for today. You look at the purpose of your business and how do you scale that over a long time. All right. So I thought I should mention that. And let me also, as they are trying to put up that slide, I won't talk much from the slide. But let me also mention, if there were a time where we needed to go into export business, it is now. There is a huge, huge opportunity. Let me just give you an instance. Mr. Ademu was saying earlier, we had 3 things that have hit us in 1 year. Only God knows how we are surviving, right? We had the health pandemic. We moved from there. I mean, the health pandemic also was an economic pandemic because we had the lockdowns across the world. People have not been able to travel, all right? And then we had the NSAS, which practically shut down the country, right? And we are just coming out from there. And what are we facing up with? That MBS has come up with data to show that we have entered into the worst recession Nigeria has seen in several years, all right? So what are the immediate implications of that? Please listen to this. The immediate implications include the fact that today, if they are doing something of the music, of the music. Hello, if you are really hearing, can you please put off the music? Please do put off the music. Okay, thank you. So I was saying that we have a massive opportunity. Now, with all the things that have happened to us, just take foreign exchange, for instance. All the things we import today, the prices have hit the roof. I mean, if you go to the streets today, FX dollar is at the range of 480, 490, right? And you need to know the immediate implication for importers. All those who import today, I can tell you for free, there is paucity, serious scarcity of FX. Even when you have your Naira, to be able to find FX to buy is a big problem, all right? We have factories that are having serious challenges now because they cannot get in their inputs. So what does that all tell you? The only way to reverse this, where the opportunities are, is if we're able to do some local production, substitute the things we're importing, and be able to export to others. And that's why I want to put this challenge before us. Whatever is your line of business, let's start thinking in that way. How do we drive local production? That will be very important for us as a country. Just look at what has happened with rice. The revolution, massive revolution has happened there. That from a 6 million metric tons of rice that we consume, you know, on an annual basis, we used to import almost 4 million of those. But today, it's almost as if we are able to generate all the rice we eat now locally, and we are set for export. All right. So let's look at it in that light. There's a massive opportunity to be able to go into the export market, and there's an imperative, obviously. Okay, so let me see slide number 1, please, Leko, if you can help. Let me just quickly run through these slides, and we're going to be talking about export. I'm going to skip quite a bit of the presentation. Yeah, I'm going to skip quite a bit of it. Yeah, just go on. I wanted to show, just give some context and show what are the major exports, you know, products that Nigeria exports, some data about AGOA, but just to pick one line there, and that is that Nigeria, it is estimated that we have the capacity to be able to export $3 billion worth annually of exports to America in terms of textiles, apparel, spices, and all of that, right, to America. Now, today, we are not anywhere near there. Look at all the advantages that Mr. Fon has mentioned that we can gain from, you know, latching into this agreement, right, and into this platform. This year, up to August, Nigeria has only been able to export about $300 million worth of goods to the US, right? Again, because of fall in oil prices and all of the other issues we've had with the pandemic. So it's so tiny. So what that means is that we're not leveraging it. Other countries are massively, massively leveraging that. The likes of, you know, Ghana, Lesotho, Kenya, all of them are leveraging this massively. We need to also come, you know, up to speed in that regard. Show me the next slide, please. Leko, please, let's move pretty fast. Okay. Now, as we begin to think about, you know, assessing financing from banks, let me just mention this to you. Yeah. So if you are thinking of assessing financing, please, let's also be clear about something. You need to ensure that your business is bankable. That is the first thing I want to mention. Make sure it is bankable. Bankable in the sense that you don't just start today. Let's say you're a startup today and you already want, you know, access to finance where you don't provide anything. Nobody is going to look at you, all right? Even for us as Standard Chartered Bank, we like the partnership and collaboration with the Nigeria-American Chamber of Commerce. But listen, what banks hold are shareholders' funds and depositors' funds. They don't give it out except they do thorough due diligence. So you must be a stickler for records. You must have proper record keeping if you want to be able to access financing from the industry, all right? So there are basic things that you must have in place. All the documentations must be in order. Your business records must be in order. We actually run a training around all of this, bankability and being able to assess financing. But just to say that you must ensure that line by line, all of the things that a bank will look out for, you will have them. You need to be ready to do things in the official way, no cutting corners, right? Because a lot of us, you want to, you know, do it from another angle, do from the informal side of it. A bank financing you will not be comfortable with that. So you must be ready to do all of the documentation. Show evidence, for instance, that you've started this, you've had some export proceeds, and so on and so forth. All the registrations, they must all be in place. These things that Mr. Fong was talking about certifications and so on, they are basic requirements, and you must have all those in place. Thankfully, we have the Institute, and we also have collaborations, and of course, the Chamber, I'm sure, also has all those collaborations. How do you bring Standards Organization of Nigeria into play to be able to show you all the things you need to do? How do you work with NAFTA to ensure that all of those things are in place? All of that must happen if that is the starting point. If you must be able to access financing, not just for exporters, but for anybody, you know, for that matter, all right? And you must also be able to demonstrate that there is credibility for your business, okay? The good thing that has happened in this period, particularly for banks, is that those days of serial defaulters in loans, they are gone. They are really gone. Because today, by some of the things the central bank has put in place, you cannot go to one bank and then default and move to another bank and access loans, right? The credit bureaus have helped. What you should know is that any money given to you by any bank whatsoever, make sure you abide by the terms of that agreement. You know why? Because those records are there. In fact, not just the records of borrowings, records of other obligations that you have. Obligations to PHCN, obligations to MTN if you're on postpaid, right? All those obligations, all those things are going to credit bureau. In other words, if they call out your name or call out your company name, if you have defaults in loans, all of that will show, and the banks are required not to lend to you. Okay, and with the BVN, you can't keep changing your name because it's a unique identifier. So whether it is your company or the individuals, the directors in that company, everybody must do things in the right way. And by the time you build that kind of credibility, that is what sustains you for growth in the future. Can I see the next slide, please? All right. I just wanted to highlight, and I'll be very brief about this, some of the key risks that banks look out for if they must lend to you, particularly in this sector that we are talking about, right? And so we have quality and purchase risk, and we've done a brilliant job in terms of saying, please keep to standards, make sure that all the things that need to be in place are in place, right? Because we will be concerned when these goods get there, will they get rejected, you know, and all of that. Even if you're able to get through the first order, will you be able to do the second one? So this is a risk that you must mitigate, and you mitigate it. You try to solve this problem for yourself by sticking to standards that are verifiable. The second one, obviously, is payment risk. Okay, will the other person be able to pay you? That means that the terms that you are entering into with the exporter, with the importer, must be terms that we can be sure that the payment is coming. And that is where documentary letters of credit come in. Obviously, we won't be able to explain all that. And that is why our contact will be left. If you need further guidance on how do you get into arrangement for letters of credit and so on and so forth, you'll be able to get some learnings around that, right? But it has to be official. It has to be documented properly so that we are sure that it is bank to bank. So yours will be to provide the goods in the quality required, and the importer is under obligation because it's no longer them, it is their bank. A bank guaranteeing the other bank, the bank of the importer will be able to send in the money. So that's how to mitigate this risk. And of course, there is also FS risk. And we are bringing FS risk here, even though it plays to your advantage as an exporter, because sometimes you are going to be spending your money, your cost will be in Naira, while your receivables are in foreign currency, perhaps a more stable currency like the US dollar. Because if we are talking about the trade corridor between Nigeria and the US under AGOA, that means that you're going to be earning in dollars, which puts you in a good position. But let's look at the manufacturer who needs to manufacture something and the inputs are coming from outside. It means that you have to spend in dollars while you are, you have to spend in dollars, in importing those inputs. Meanwhile, your sales, sometimes some of the other things you are going to do, you may have some Naira components to that. So there may be a risk in that. So the bank will also look at, is there any exchange risk involved in this? All right. And the best way to handle this is to make sure that you match like for like, that the currency of your spending also matches the currency of your receivables. That way you'll be able to avoid that sort of risk. And we're introducing this because sometimes there are multiple currencies that may be involved. All right. And of course, there's also the diversion risk. The bank will look out. If we disburse money to you, will it go exactly into what you say you use it for, right? So you are giving money for working capital, will it be diverted? So banks look out for that. You must be able to demonstrate and give your lender the comfort that there will be no diversion. How do we streamline all the funding you are received to the right things that will, drive your growth? And of course, the key man risk. So if I'm reviewing your company, I'll also want to look at, is there a succession plan? If anything happens to you, do you have a key man insurance, and so on and so forth? Because often the challenge we have with SMEs is that the man is the business is the man. So if anything happens to the man, the business is gone. So banks look out for that. So are you building a structure in your business, such a structure where you have other people, you've developed power such that it is not just you, everything doesn't reside on you. We have SMEs and experiences where the MD CEO is away, no check can be written, no money can be paid, salaries cannot be paid if you travel, right? So those are the little things that banks look out for. which can become a risk if we are to lend to you. Please go to the next slide. And let me come to the meat of this. And that is to talk about Standard Chartered Bank. And I won't waste your time. We've been around for over 160 years. And I think that experience counts for something. And more importantly, we play in all the most dynamic markets in the world, mainly Africa, Asia, Middle East. And of course, our operational base when it comes to international payment is in New York. And again, we have in London. So we are in all the major financial hubs. Call it China, call it Hong Kong, call it London, call it New York. We are there. In fact, we issue the currency of Hong Kong. Standard Chartered Bank issues their currency. So we are there in all the major places. And we are rated as number 2. In fact, in some clients, we are number 1 when it comes to trade. We facilitate trade. That is our biggest strength. We facilitate trade across the world. And of course, US is our biggest base when it comes to international payments. And that is where you want to operate. So we are so strong in that regard. I need to actually highlight this very properly for you. We are so strong in terms of, international payments that if you were to initiate a transfer to America today, if you initiate it in the morning, by the time New York opens and before close of day, the beneficiary will confirm it. It is that good. Meaning also that if your supplier were to transmit LCs to you, it is so simple, so simple for you. Okay, so we are all there, major footprints across everywhere, and our commitment remains to drive commerce and prosperity for all our clients. All right, so that is a major thing, and it also creates some sort of visibility for you if you work with a Standard Chartered Bank, because not only that, some of those things, instead of having layers and layers of bank, this is the advising bank, this is the other bank, some of those things happen internally for us, right? Because we are most often our own advising bank, we are most often our own correspondent bank. We don't need a correspondent bank for a lot of the things we do. You'll find that some other local banks, you will need to use a correspondent bank to be able to do that. So that's the key thing you leverage from us. And of course, let me just, put this across. Leko, if you can show me the next slide. Now, typically, these are the 3 areas I want to just highlight. The areas that most exporters will need financing, right? You will need pre-shipment financing, for instance. How do you have working capital to be able to, all your local inputs, put them together, to be able to even start the export, right? Because you have several operational costs, right? You need to pay salaries and so on and so forth. So how are you able to do that? Okay, so that is one area that exporters require financing. The second part is the post-shipment finance. Now, post-shipment finance means you have already exported the goods. Maybe in the lag time when the confirmations are going on, you need to unlock some cash, refinance yourself, as it were, because you put in a lot of your working capital into being able to put together the goods. But while the confirmations are still going on, bank to bank and so on and so forth, how do you have cash for the next order that you have? So sometimes you need to discount the letter of credit you have. I think I'm using that term loosely. So we call it post-shipment financing. So you've already invoiced and all that. You can bring that invoice for discounting. That's another area that exporters require financing. Part of the need of the exporter. The other one is, how do you use digital platforms to facilitate what you are doing, right? So again, we have a very seamless international transfer platform. So whether you are trying to procure payments or you want to drive collection, we have what we call straight to bank. It's a very robust platform. I don't want to go into that because of our time. Leko, can I have the next slide, please? Go to next slide. Go to next slide. I've covered this. Go to the next, please. All right. So I wanted to go back one bit. I wanted to just say, and Mr. Demo also mentioned some of the CBN intervention funds that are there. I won't zero into them, but there are quite a number of them, right? But one of the things you must know about these intervention funds, they are not free money. A lot of the time, what is required, and that's what Ms. Sademo was actually referring to, it still runs through the normal risk processes of the participating banks. In other words, the banks will need to assess you first. All right. So if you're working with Standard Chartered Bank and you want to have access to any of these intervention funds, it means that I will use my normal credit appraisal standards to appraise you first, approve that facility before it goes to the central bank. Meaning this, that if I require you to provide collateral, I will still ask you for the collateral before it goes to the central bank, because I'm under obligation to remit back the money to the central bank. But these fundings are available. The advantage of it is that it is cheaper, right? They are mostly single digit. That's why some people go for them. So you can talk to your bank and say, I want this kind of intervention fund, and they can walk you through that. Go to the next slide, please. All right. So for us, this is a spectrum, a wide spectrum of how we can work with you as an exporter, right? And let's remember that export is like a value chain of its own. There are other components. It's not just getting the goods and shipping it, that is all. There are other things that you also require to do. You have staff, you have to pay their salary, you need a facility where you can do your warehousing and so on and so forth. So we're looking at that 360 degrees. So obviously the first thing is that we're involved in trade financing, right? So can finance your, letters of credit, and so on and so forth. That can be financed. Of course, we can also provide term loans. Let's say you want to do an expansion of your business. You want to acquire an asset, okay? You need trucks to be able to help in your operations. You need to get a business mortgage to get an office facility or a warehouse facility. Those kind of fundings are available. Of course, there's also the short-term bridging finances. You just need a working capital to be able to cut over, from a lean period to the time your receivables are due. Those are also available. You need an overdraft facility. We have a special one we call investment-backed lending. That is when, if you're a more established business, you can actually start doing some investment. Keep aside a part of your money. Don't use it and put it in investments mostly outside the country. They are dollar or euro or pounds denominated that come in terms of mutual funds or bonds in the best fund houses in the world. You can actually leverage on that. And when you have need, we can lend to you based on that. Just to give you an example, some of those investments, they make returns for you in foreign currency of between 6 to 8%. But if you are borrowing against it, we can discount it and give you like maybe up to 70% of that amount. Let's say you have $1 million investment, you can receive up to $700,000 in financing from us at 3.2%. So what that does for you is that you are borrowing at a very cheap rate. I said 3.2%. You can borrow as low as that if that's foreign currency borrowing, right? If it is Naira borrowing, it can be around 9%, right? So you can borrow as low as that while your investment is still working for you, right? And you still have a margin, of about 3% that you can play around with or more than that. So those are some of the things we can do. Now, if you have questions around this, please continue to go to the chat box. We'll take all of them together. So that's in a nutshell how financing will be done. I will take the next few minutes remaining to just talk to you very briefly on digitization for your business. Isademo, again, I think you did a brilliant job in setting the tone for what we are saying today. I'd already alluded to this, all right? Now, if you go to next slide, please, Lekon, just to say to us, the world today has shifted massively when it comes to commerce. Massive shift. Whatever area of business you are in, the question we need to keep asking ourselves, where is your audience today? Where is your market? If you take any sample, let's take Nigeria, for instance, where more than half of the population, so if we take whichever stats you are looking at, let's say we are 200 million people in Nigeria, more than 100 of those are online in one form or the other. So where best do you have to be able to display your goods and services. That is one thought. The other thought is about globalization, which has been referenced here also. It's about the fact that the world is now together more than ever before, all right? That I can access goods and services that are produced elsewhere in the world from the comfort of my office, all right, or my home. Look at a company like Netflix, all right? Netflix, number one, has disrupted all your cinemas and so on and so forth. But again, think about it this way. This is a foreign company, but it has clients in Nigeria. I am one of their clients, right? It has clients in Nigeria. I'm able to access them and pay for them, okay? So in a nutshell, what that therefore means is that in a digital first world, you need to also innovate and digitize, okay? Now, digitization will help you, whether it is in terms of business visibility. And I like the fact that, you know, the AGOA, you know, unit in NSCC already works with, you know, Facebook, because this is a very good example of what you can do with business visibility. Whether we Google, I'll talk to you a bit more about that, whether we Google or Facebook or whoever, right? That you can create more visibility for your business. You can actually put yourself in platforms where you get seen by those who require the kind of goods you can produce in Nigeria. All right, that is one big thing. Payments can also be done for you. You know, export is not just when you are able to put goods together and go and ship them. It is also, for those who are a bit more creative, it is also about services that you can provide online that people can access anywhere and they pay for it from anywhere. And this is how we need to start thinking, because that's where the world is moving to. In fact, that's where the world is. Massive, and let me position it this way. We've moved into a contactless economy, a global economy that is getting more and more contactless. I don't know how many of you have had to travel, you know, the multiple times we used to travel. I mean, we're not traveling, but people are still doing export business, doing import business, doing international business, all right, through all kinds of platforms that are available. So we need to start thinking of that. How do you continue to run your business in a digital first world, in a contactless economy? Okay, how are you positioning for that? Please go to next slide. I need to just rush through this. Go to next slide. The 4 pillars of digital. Okay, that's good. Just to call your attention to this, I won't zero in deeply into that. And that is just to say to you that business models are transforming, all right? Now, we are now seeing new industries emerging that are based exclusively on virtual platforms. So what is the digital version of your current business? That is the challenge before you, even as an SME. How do you create a virtual part of your business? How do you go digital yourself in terms of your business model? The second one is organizational transformation, that we are also seeing so much digital mindsets, okay, and agility for business leaders. What is happening? Innovation is coming very strongly. You know, we need to start relooking people agendas. How many staff do you need, and so on and so forth, because there are things organizationally that, you know, some digital platforms are taking over those things, right? So you need to begin to think about your organization. How do you digitize the things that you are doing as an organization, all right? How do you digitize your processes? Do you continue to need, you know, I did a trip, I think it was 2 weeks ago. All right, no, just 2 weeks ago. I did a trip to Ebonyi State, Abakaliki. You know, I've been hearing about this rice mill. I happened to be around the east, so I decided to go down there. It was a long trip. So I went to Abakaliki, went to that their famous rice mill where you get your Abakaliki rice. What I saw really surprised me. They are producing very high quality rice, but guess what? Most of it is still being done manually. I saw massive drums, massive drums that were boiling rice. I saw people doing all kinds of things, but these are things that digitization can sort out, that you can put the husk in one end and you get out a bag rice on the other end, all fully digitized. which also speaks to people agenda, again, speaks to efficiency because it reduces the number of people that you may require. Efficiency goes up, the lead time to be able to drive production, is shorter, and so on and so forth. So these are things we need to start thinking about even as SMEs. And I know the typical problem we have is that we say it is expensive, right? You can start small, okay? Start with putting your business out there. Okay, go to next slide. Let me just show you a few of the things that in Standard Chartered Bank we are doing to support the process. Now, the first thing is the fact that we connect with an organization, work with an organization called Connects. Connects is a platform, a business-to-business matchmaking platform, where if you are there, you get visible across various chambers of commerce in the world, right? These people are, so what that does for you is that instead of somebody just seeing your name online and doesn't know how to verify you, this Connect already has a verification process so that anybody meeting you there has some level of comfort that you are a proper, business that's operating in Nigeria and that can do this, because there are some due diligence that are done before you are put on that platform. So people can see you, you get visible there. And of course, just look at our partnership with, the likes of Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce. And of course, we do a few of those partnerships with other digital platforms that, help you get more visible, right? Have a platform, a way we work with in terms of business visibility with Google, whether it is Google My Business or so on and so forth. You can be seen digitally. If they type in your name on the internet, will it appear? Will it come out? If they type your business name on the net, will it come out? There are simple things that you can do along that line. Google My Business may be a very simple way to start, where even if you go to Google Map, we can see your location where you are, all right? And we support with all kinds of social media trainings for our people just to see how, you can get more visible and be able to assess clients, all right? So I will pause at that point to say to you, yes, you can make yourself bankable, make yourself that kind of company that has all that it takes. Walk back, think of it, what does your lender require? Be able to provide that, show credibility, and they can take you to anywhere. We are always happy to work with people, so groom an SME from where his turnover annually is like 100 million. Is a success story when we now begin to say, we have been able to move this guy from a turnover of 100 million annually to a turnover of 3 billion to 5 billion, right? Any banker will want to have that kind of story. So people are willing to support. It is, do you have what it takes? So how do we put all those things in place? Put the records in place and all of the things that are required. And as a pattern shop, let me also say, one of the biggest problems SMEs have, and I've studied SMEs for quite a couple of years, it is being able to provide what lenders are looking for. Lenders will want collateral, all right? Lenders will want that sort of thing. A number of SMEs don't have that collateral. Okay, so how do you solve that problem? What Standard Chartered Bank is doing currently is that hopefully, by the grace of God, by first quarter of next year, we are coming out with a product that enables us to provide some small-term financing, maybe up to 20 million naira, okay, to SMEs, just to support them without collateral, all right? It's a leap we are taking, all right? We are almost done with that, and it will be rolled out very shortly. Just to help with some of the basic things as you now grow, you can now acquire the collateral and be able to provide that for the bigger monies, to come through to you. Okay, so I'll pause there. I hope the chat platform has the questions as we move into the question and answer session. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, that was very exhaustively dealt with. Hello, please, enable my video, please. Video. So that was exhaustively dealt with. I've asked the host to kindly enable my video. Okay, I'm on now. So thank you very much, Benjamin, for that exhaustive presentation, together with that of fun. So that's what we have for today. I'm trying to see whether any participant has put up his hand virtually. I cannot see any, but a lot of chats came in, which will forward to you, between you and Often, to deal with digitally. A lot of our participants asked for presentations to be forwarded to them. I don't know whether you want to allow that. Great, so we will share it with them. Then there are, I'm sure you must have seen a lot of the questions yourself.
Yes.
Which we will redirect all of them to you, except if you have answered any of them directly. So, and then we'll share, of course, the list of participants with you and the chairman of the committee. So that's what we have today. Before of course, if you had been any hands up, we will have given the person the floor to speak, but there is none.
DG.
So, yes.
There are questions for the chamber. Maybe you allow the chairman to attend to those questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. All right. Okay. The chair. Maybe the chair should take over at this point. I'll run over the questions. Ms. Adeyemo, please.
Thank you very much, the DG. I think I didn't see any question with me, but I think the Standard Chartered Bank team, they have the questions.
Yeah.
And Mr. Udofia has dealt with exports quality and standard. I would like to reinforce Mr. Udofia's presentation, which is quite informative. And my reinforcement will go to pre-shipment inspection agents. Pre-shipment inspection agents, there was a time in history when our importations were being pre-inspected at the country of origin before coming to Nigeria. Nigeria has since done that for destination inspection being done by the Nigerian Customs Service. Now, for exports, you need a pre-shipment inspection certification. And the recognized pre-shipment inspection agents, you see, have the SGS, the COTECNA, so they have to issue their certification after thorough verification of the standard and the quality of your products before it gets to United States. And the counterpart of the US FDA, that is Food and Drug Agency, is our NAFDAC. So your food and drug, your food and drug exports must have NAFDAC certification and label imprinted on your packaging material. But if you are for tools and mechanical products being exported to America, then you have to go through Standard Organization of Nigeria. They're actually globally recognized like NAFDA is. And the quality of your food products must be safe for consumers. If not, they will be seized at the point of entry by US Customs, popularly known as CBP. So, and that is what I would like to say. But I would like the Standard Chartered team to take the question and answers that I do not have visibility of, because we ask participants to send their questions before this exercise, so that as they are giving the lecture, the training, certain questions will be answered. So participants' questions should come in through the chat box, and let Mr. Benjamin DK take it up, please. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
This is Mr. Edo. Just to support your presentation, there are some questions that are addressed to the chamber. For instance, somebody asked whether honey is covered by the AGOA processes.
Okay.
And under AGOA processes, we have food and kindred products. I think you can go on that. You can also go under agricultural products and also go under some other title. Again, in Nigeria, we have a national stakeholders forum for AGOA, which we hold periodic meetings in Abuja. All these agencies that are necessary for certification, standard organization, also so many of them. The chamber is a member of that stakeholders forum. So exporters are encouraged to join the chamber so that they can benefit from all these processes. We can facilitate it, we can make it faster for you because we are all colleagues in that committee. Secondly, there was something somebody mentioned about, okay, I think it was the standard chamber. The rules of origin. I think the ruling something is about 35%, was minimum 35% originating in an AGOA country. So these are some of the things that we can assist exporters to fulfill. I thank you very much for this presentation. In fact, I've learned a lot from it.
Thank you, Mr. Ido.
I hand over to you again.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ido, for that coming in. The 6,500 products, eligibility products, can be found in the popular customs tariff. In the popular customs tariff, honey is one of the eligible products. And the rules of origin says you must not import textiles from China and now want to export it to US. It will be a contraband. Thank you.
I quickly say something there. You mentioned something I believe has to do with government policy.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, ma.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Chair. Yeah, okay. Do I have your phone? Yes, you mentioned something very critical. When you mentioned SGS, Bureau Veritas, ITS, I think the chamber needs to also dialogue. Thank God for Mr. Dewo that you're a partner to, you're a member of some of this organization. We now have Colbert and Nelori doing inspection, issuing main report of inspection and collecting 1% ICSS. But I just see them as they are record keepers for the country. Because when AGS was doing this for export, invariably trust is there because if there's any issue with that consignment, AGS is liable. But now Colbert and Nolari inspect and keep record for government, and that document that they are giving to you cannot stand as a trust. So that's, I've been saying this in several fora. I want us to look at this. If AGS is applying, AGS is still there, but it is not mandatory they must test. It is the importer that will tell you, I want AGS to confirm what you are exporting to me, and the importer will pay a fee for that. But the one that Neroli and Colbert is doing, government asks them to do it, and then they are taking 1% of what you are doing from that. But that document cannot comfort an importer. Whereas that of AGS can comfort an importer in the sense that if that consignment has issue, AGS will bankroll the payment, they'll be indicted. So I'm just passing this information that when you go in committees, let government really spell it out. What is it? This guy just keeping record for them? That's one. Then two, on the issue of standards, I think this high time we should marry voluntary standards. What do I mean by voluntary standard? We have 220 voluntary standards that companies are more comfortable with. We are farm assurance for Global Gap. Because Global Gap, if I have NAFDAC number sent to overseas or sent to America, and that product have issues, NAFDAC does not pay 1 naira for that. But it's a mandatory standard from Nigeria. But if that product was certified by Global Gap, and there are issues with the owner of the product, maybe somebody ate it and got sick or died, Global Gap will now pay the insurance on behalf of that. So it gives them more comfort. The voluntary standard gives them more comfort than the mandatory standard. That is not to say you will not have a mandatory standard. You have your mandatory standard, but you have the voluntary standard as a way of helping you sell more. For instance, in Nigeria now, I'm not sure we have of the 3 farms that have Global Gap standard. Whereas in small countries like Ghana, Kenya has over 1,000 plus, and that's why you see most of their products. That's why you can afford to see in the supermarket made in Ghana for JJ Morrison. So, since we are trying to help the SMEs and couple with what the bank is trying to do, so that we will maybe look back tomorrow and say, okay, this is where we were before this program. That after this, I've learned something, I've tried to implement it, we have moved to this stage. So those are the 2 things I just said. I would remind. Well, I'm happy that you people have brought me in. You are already getting me as a partner in this progress because you are doing the right thing. We partner with you and see how we can help real exporters that want to move ahead. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right. Benjamin, we were programmed for. Do you want to say anything because we want to round up?
Yes. Okay. I saw a couple of questions. We'll not be able to take all of them, but just to say, there's an email we've dropped there. Please, if you reach out to us, we'll be able to support and provide guidance in all the ways we can. For those who want to say they want to open an account, just drop a note to that email. You'll be sure that we will reach out to you. There's an email, right on the screen, and it's also on the chat box. And I saw the question on someone who has some LCs, okay, and you want to see how we can come in. Please just drop an email. It's something we'll be happy to take on, okay?
All right. Thank you very much, Benjamin. I think on this note, we have extended our time. And at the peak of the presentation, we had about 122 participants. Although some of them are starting to leave now, but we still have about participants still on the forum. So we thank Standard Chartered Bank, we thank Ofon, and every participant on this forum. I would encourage another member here to join. Those are our details on the screen. Reach out to us and benefit from what the chamber has to offer in terms of information, training, and so on, particularly as concerns AGOA and issues. So this program was also on YouTube for those that saw us and listened to it through YouTube, aside from the 122 that directly linked in and logged into here and see what we have done. So on behalf of the chamber, again, I would like to hand over to the chair of the committee to say the final vote of thanks before we finally wind down. Mr. Adeyawa, please.
Oh, we should thank her instead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chairman of Programs. Thank you. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our participants that have been so patient to take this training. I would like to especially thank the Standard Chartered Bank team, headed by Mr. Benjamin DK. The resources you have given us are exposing. There is such a rich knowledge, together with Mr. Ufom Dofia. This is huge knowledge that participants they did not expect, because you went low and beyond, and you went to some other little areas that people take for granted and they sweep under the carpet, conducting due process and all that. It was an expose and a huge knowledge. I also thank the secretariats of Nigerian-American Chamber of Commerce, the Miss Maria at the background of this whole thing, of Standard Chartered, Mrs. Tina Okubo. I'd like to thank everybody who has put in a lot to make this program a success. It's exposing, it's a rich knowledge. I can't believe the dimension it had gone. And most especially, it has put a spotlight not only on Nigeria as a nation, but on Nigerian exporters, that we as Standard Chartered, we can give you diversified capabilities from professionals, financial institutions, and the rest. But you are to take ownership of your business, of your operations, so that you make a mark as Nigerian export ambassadors. We thank you all for this attention you have given us. Thank you, Standard Chartered. Thank you, Mr. Benjamin DK. Thank you, Mr. Foydofia. DG, I thank you, and your workers, Lekon, and all other members of NACC. And Mr. Bayo Idowu, I thank you for keeping the dates. God bless you.
Thank you very much, man. On behalf of the national president who is away on a tour of West Africa, Southern Africa, and the Middle East, we say thank you to everyone. Please join us for more of our programs. Have a lovely day, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Idowu, for being there, for your assessments.
Mr. Idowu, I'll need your contact. I'll be in Abuja for 2 weeks for training. I want to get your contact.
This is just great.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes.
Okay.
It's such a rich knowledge that participants have tapped.
Madam,